I'm delighted to say David Meyler is back with us this Monday morning. David, how are you getting on?
Morning, gentlemen.
What a very interesting weekend of Premier League action. Liverpool were fairly sensational against Leeds. I was flicking around at various stages and went, and you know the way Sky do that recap, and it was like shot, chance, goal. I was like, wow, this is quite the impressive performance. Were they as good in overall play as they were in terms of the number of chances and shots they created?
No, 100%. I think they were very good. I think the team selection from Jurgen was very interesting. Obviously, giving Thiago the start over Henderson. Obviously, Harvey Elliott. We wish him all the best in his recovery. He deserved his place on his performances. But Thiago coming in just brought that bit of composure alongside Fabinho in terms of like dictating the pace. They were able to get on the ball, control it. Look, we know Bielsa is famous for the way he plays, where they're all frantic. They're up and down the pitch for 90 minutes. But those, the Liverpool midfield were able to add that bit of control and, composure, that when it did get frantic, Thiago was able to put his foot in the ball and kind of manipulate it, move players around, get on the ball, make passes happen. And you know what? They fully deserved it.
Thiago just seems a much better player when he's got Fabinho beside him.
I think anyone would be a better player with Fabinho. It's just the control he asserts, in that six where he's an exceptional at reading the game. He takes up the right positions where he's intercepting passes or he's like making little tackles to, stop counterattacks. I spoke about Thiago adding composure. Fabinho is very good at it. It almost looks like he's always in third gear when he gets on the ball. He always makes the right decision. He's able to pick up pockets, to get on the ball, to play forward. Obviously, like I said, when, opposition are trying to get forward, then he's very good at breaking it up. And he just inserts calmness to the team. And that's, it's an incredible trait to have. He doesn't look phased. He's not blessed with blistering pace to get himself out of, bother or whatever, but it's just the positioning he always picks up. And then look, good players, feed off that, and good players love playing with good players. And you can see that with Thiago when they're in there. There's this nice little link between them where they're always passing and, looking to create angles to play the ball forward.
It does seem as well with Thiago that there's maybe more of a goal threat about him this season, like arriving late into the box. Maybe it's just Leeds yesterday. Like, in fairness, Liverpool should have been 3-0 up at half-time, never mind full-time. But it does seem that even from Thiago's point of view, it's not just the creativity from midfield, assisting the assister, as it were. He's actually getting into the box and he's actually getting himself on the end of opportunities.
Yeah, well, that's massive for him because, if you look at its time with Bayern Munich, he kind of always played in the six. The times when Kimmich played midfield, he was always the deep lying one who was able to get on the ball off the centre, get the ball off the centre halves, look to kind of start the attacks. Yesterday, we kind of seen him given kind of almost a free license to get forward because when you have someone like Fabinho sitting behind you, he does allow you to get forward. You look at, Mane's goal or whatever, he's up in the box receiving the ball. Look, we know he's a special player. There's never been a question of his, technical ability. At times, yes, the way the Premier League is played, his positioning has been questioned, or probably his inability to tackle. He's not the best tackler, but all round in terms of passing, control, all that, he's an exceptional player, and that will only benefit Liverpool. Obviously, coming into the Premier League, he suffered that injury against Everton, so he took a lot of time to get going. And if you've seen a lot of Jurgen Klopp signings, are probably Alisson and Van Dijk, some of them have taken probably 6 to 9 months to really get going. Even if you look at, say, Robertson, when he signed, it wasn't, 3-4 months until he was kind of established in the team and was getting a run of games. Thiago probably needed, to filter in and out of the team, get a good pre-season under his belt. And now, like, you can see from his performance yesterday that he's, really excelling.
The front three, as it started yesterday, was Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota and Mohamed Salah. That trio, I know Firmino was like underappreciated by everybody and all that kind of stuff, and those conversations that we've had about him before, but the quality of movement that you get and the added goal threat you get from Jota suggests that it looks like those three could be even better than the previous iteration when it was Firmino in the middle, which again would give Liverpool fans confidence that this is going to be a team that can sustain a title challenge, I guess.
Oh, of course. Look, I've cried out many a time that I would love Liverpool to sign someone to kind of, push the front three. And I think Jota can do that. That's why if you look at Manchester United, Chelsea, Chelsea go and win the Champions League and they spend 100 million on Lukaku. That kind of, you need that. Manchester United go and sign Ronaldo, Sancho. They want to push players on. Liverpool, of course, haven't done that, but Jota is that one that could probably play in all three of those forward positions. So he's able to, Jurgen has a great choice now. That does he play Firmino, and does he, or does he start Jota? Does he give Mane a rest? Does he give Salah a rest? Because Jota, look, you've seen the impact he had last season before the injury, where he was scoring all the time. That's huge. And look, he does have a goal threat. He's always sniffing around, and if he can keep adding goals, like there's always been a question mark over, Bobby Firmino's, his goals tally. He doesn't score enough goals. Yes, his all-around game is superb, but we want more goals from him. But certainly with Jota, adds a different dimension. They do interlink well. They do move well. There's a nice little bit of rotation with them. So it is. Look, it's great for Jurgen to have that decision to make week in, week out.
Is Joel Matip the starter now? He obviously very important in creating the opening for the first goal, and it seems like the manager likes partnerships, likes a settled team. In some ways, it looks like it might be a long time before we see Konate getting a start.
I think it will be. Like if you remember back, obviously we're probably talking about 2 seasons ago when Joe Gomez really came onto the scene. It was when Matip got injured. Joe came in and then he was superb, picked up a slight knock, and then Matip came back in again towards the back end of the Champions League. And it looked like kind of that was Jurgen's main two. Again, then the biggest problem or biggest concern you'd have over Matip is he does pick up a lot of injuries. So that was the big thing. Obviously last year, look, it's been talked about enough times about Liverpool's central defending pair being all over the place with injuries. So they signed Konate. You're going to have to wait. Like, I don't think it's quite easy as a player. I think when, the team is winning and the centre-halves are doing well, that you can kind of accept where you're at. That you can kind of say, look, I know we're all desperate to play, but you kind of, if the team are winning and doing well, and Matip and Van Dijk are doing really well, so I think Gomez and Konate have to be patient. But there will be opportunities, but I think they are his main two.
AC Milan on Wednesday then. Are we going to see Van Dijk play all these games?
I think so. I don't think you can rest Virgil. You've just seen the impact he's had, since he's been back from his injury. He is just a breath of fresh air. Like obviously the game against Chelsea, how he dealt with Lukaku. That was obviously the big question mark. I know obviously Chelsea went down to 10 men, which kind of ruined the game. But certainly in the fact that, he never looks phased and he never looks overstretched in terms of, a difficult game. It always seems easy for him. And that's what the best players do. I imagine we'll get on to Ronaldo at some stage, but the best players do that. And I think Virgil will be certainly one of those. He'll have played all the international games straight back in. He'll just want to, keep continuing playing games. He won't want to break that flow and he'll want to stay in the team. I suppose there will be times when probably in the Champions League or FA Cup, League Cup, and when they come around, that there will probably be an opportunity to give him a rest. But in terms of like your opening game at Champions League and say AC Milan at home, you want to win. You need your best players on the pitch, and Van Dijk is certainly one of Liverpool's best players. Well,
let's talk about Ronaldo then. I mean, a perfect second debut for him with his 2 goals. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity with the first chance he gets and buries it to get back up and running. Is this, like, I'm not sure what your take on Manchester United was with regards to them being proper title challengers before Saturday, but has it transformed that view?
Well, before Ronaldo signed, obviously the 3 key areas you were looking at were the right winger. Like I'm a huge Mason Greenwood fan, but I think in the long run he'll become a striker. So you kind of had Mason and Daniel James playing on the right hand side. The other position was centre half. I felt Harry Maguire needed a better partner than Victor Lindelof. Obviously you signed Rafa Varane, which is huge, like a 4-time Champions League winner, World Cup winner. I still can't wrap my head around people that question marks about him. Would he be able to adapt to the Premier League? The other position is midfield, which I think is United's biggest concern. They're crying out for a holding midfielder. If you look at, we just spoke about Liverpool, if you look at, they have Fabinho, and as a backup, they've got Henderson and Thiago. You look at Chelsea, they've got Jorginho, Kante. You look at Manchester City, they've got Fernandinho and Rodri. There's players there that are at a certain level, and I just feel that Matic has been superb for a long time, but he's at the back end. And then you've got Fred McTominay. I think Scott McTominay's a young boy. who will go on and have a marvellous career. But I just feel where United are now, they need a world-class number 6 so that they can allow your Pogba, to get forward. Look, he's 7 assists in 4 games, which was remarkable. And then obviously Bruno is, the maverick in that side as a 10, but they just need that outright crying 6. Are they title challengers? They have to be. I think, the signing of Ronaldo will lift them all, whether it be 5-10%. I think he takes them on a level. You just seen the other day, his ability to sniff out chances, goals. Like, it's a great example. If you look at the first one as Mason takes the shot and the keeper saves it. Ronaldo's the only one following in. He's just got that movement. He's got that sense of awareness of where the ball is going to drop. He just finds himself in the right positions. I like to think he's, 36. I think it's his 787th goal he scored in his career. It's just remarkable what the fella's able to achieve. And there's no doubting he'll score many goals for United this season.
We've obviously seen the rest of the top 4, the big 4, win and begin to establish a little bit of daylight already this early in the season. That's kind of what we expect, right? That there are going to be routine 3-0 wins for Chelsea against teams like Villa. Maybe City were a little less impressive at the weekend, but they're still getting back to form and they're still winning games. So that top 4 is established, and that's, if any of them aren't actually title challengers this year, it's a bad season for them.
Definitely. Like, you look at those 4 sides, they are the top 4. Like, I genuinely do believe, I was on with Joe before the season started, I do believe that this title race will be very close. I think the 4 of them will be within, I'm going to say, like 10 points of one another. I really do believe that they'll annihilate all the other 16 teams. Look, there'll be points dropped here and there, and it will basically come down to who beats who. I genuinely believe the 4 squads, like Liverpool, are probably the only squad that hasn't really kicked on. Of course, look, there's a lot of players that have signed new long-term contracts, which is great. But like, United have freshened it up, City have freshened it up, Chelsea have freshened it up. So I do believe this will be one of the most exciting years. And if the 4 of them, keep going the way they look like they're going to go, it should be a really fascinating year.
I'm very cynical and did not believe Daniel Farke during the week when he was saying, I was watching the international break and Andrew Omobamidele was really good and maybe we're going to have to look at putting him in the team. I was like, look, that sounds like the type of patronising stuff that managers always come out about their players. And then lo and behold, the team is named. Norwich are tweeting out a picture of his jersey about him making his full Premier League debut, and it was exactly what you would want. It was up against Aubameyang and up against Arsenal, and kept him at bay for like 60 odd minutes, only conceded once and has the full 90 minutes under his belt. It's been a whirlwind for him, but he's exactly where he needs to be, and we should be really proud of the fact that this guy looks like he is the real deal.
100%. Look, Andrew's performance, against Portugal, and again then against Serbia, you know what I mean? He's really come on leaps and bounds. Obviously, he'd been relatively unknown to a lot of people, but certainly, to see his performance against Serbia, taking the ball out, playing out from the back. Like, the biggest thing after, you're kind of saying, I hope he goes back to his club and plays, which will only benefit, 1, him, 2, Stephen. And like you said, look, a lot of managers do take interest in international football. Obviously, there's that concern that, a player might pick up an injury, but they do watch games. They want to know how their players are getting on. Of course, for Daniel Farke, we've got Andrew and we've got Adam. So there's 2 players. So it's a bit like, a bit more of an interest for him. But to see that performance and then obviously talk him up and then bring him straight into the side, is only really good. Obviously, going away to Arsenal is always going to be, a tough one. But like, it's incredible what a week it's been for the young fella. You know what I mean? And it's fantastic for him, his family, and of course Irish football. We have this great knack of producing great centre halves. Obviously, the loss of Darragh O'Shea was a disaster against Portugal, but then you're thinking who's going to come in and replace him. And on hold, Andrew steps in and he's made it look like Darragh's not been there, and he's been in the squad for years. That's a really big plus. So we just want to see him kick on, continue to play for Norwich, and hopefully he gets, just keeps getting better and better.
He's got a real chance of making it as well because he can step up and he's got a range of passing. It's everything that you need from a modern centre back in the Premier League. And so the more Norwich play him, I mean, look, obviously Norwich want to keep him for 10 years and they want him to have a full possible career there. But like when you have an 18-year-old who's playing international football and also playing in the Premier League, there's going to be interest from the bigger clubs as well. So the more they play him, the better and more valuable the asset becomes.
Definitely. That's part and parcel of football. It is a business. Of course, Norwich would like to keep him for the entire, his entire career because he'll only benefit them. But I think at the moment, just leave him play, leave him enjoy it. If he gets, we 4 games into the season, if he gets 30 plus games in the Premier League, it'll only be a huge vote of confidence from 1, the manager. 2, he'll keep developing, as you said, he'll keep getting better. He'll be able to, get that experience under him. Continues to play for Stephen, which would be massive. And we've got another fantastic centre half on our hands, so all good for Irish football.
100%. Great to have you back, David. Thanks a million. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
David Meyler giving us some thoughts there on the weekend's Premier League action. OTB AM brought to you by Gillette. Good morning. Start with Gillette. Put your best face forward with their new and improved razors.